Don't think, don't analyze, just imagine this moment. You are standing alone in a quiet, timeless place. In front of you, on an old wooden table, lie 4 keys. Each key is different. Each key carries a story. Carl Jung believed that when the conscious mind relaxes, the subconscious speaks through symbols, and keys are one of the most powerful symbols of all. A key does not force anything open. It simply reveals what is already waiting behind the door. So trust your instinct. The key that attracts you first is not random. It reflects something deep within your inner self, something you may not even be aware of yet. Stay till the end, because the final key often reveals the truth that people try hardest to hide from themselves. Now focus on the first key. The first key is simple, old and rusty. Its surface is rough. The metal looks worn out, as if it has passed through many hands and many years. This key doesn't shine. It doesn't try to impress you, yet somehow, it feels familiar. If this is the key that caught your attention first, your subconscious is revealing a very important part of your personality. Choosing the old rusty key suggests that you are deeply connected to your past. You carry memories not as burdens, but as lessons. You are someone who values experiences over appearances. While others chase novelty and perfection, you understand that life leaves marks, and those marks are meaningful. You may have gone through emotional struggles, disappointments, or periods of loneliness, but instead of breaking you, they shaped you. Your subconscious trusts resilience more than glamour. People with this key often have a quiet strength. You don't seek validation loudly. You don't need to prove your worth constantly. There is wisdom in your silence. You might even feel older than your actual age, as if you've lived many emotional lifetimes already. Carl Jung would say that your psyche is strongly connected to the wounded healer archetype. You heal others not because you learned it from books, but because you once needed healing yourself. However, this key also reveals a hidden challenge. You may struggle with letting go. Sometimes you hold on to old identities, old pains, or old versions of yourself longer than necessary. You tell yourself it's loyalty, but deep down it might be fear of the unknown. Your subconscious is asking you an important question. Are you honoring your past, or are you hiding inside it? Now, shift your attention to the second key. The second key is a golden ornamented key. It is luxurious, detailed, and beautifully crafted. It shines under the light, almost demanding attention. If this key immediately attracted you, your subconscious is revealing your relationship with success, recognition, and self-worth. Choosing the golden key indicates a strong desire for achievement. You are driven, ambitious, and aware of your potential. You don't want to live an average life. Deep inside, you believe you are meant for something more, something meaningful, something admired. This doesn't make you shallow. It makes you conscious of your power. You understand the language of influence, confidence, and presence. Jung would associate this choice with the persona archetype, the face we present to the world. You are very aware of how you appear to others, and you often feel pressured to live up to expectations, both your own and society's. Success, for you, is not just about money or status. It is proof that your efforts mattered, proof that your struggles were not wasted. But here's the shadow this key reveals. Sometimes, you may tie your self-worth too closely to external validation. Praise motivates you, but its absence can silently hurt you. You may smile confidently on the outside, while questioning yourself internally. Your subconscious is gently warning you, do not let the gold define your soul. You are valuable even when no one is watching. Now your eyes move toward the third key. This one feels different immediately. It carries a diamond emblem at its center. It is not overly flashy like gold, yet it radiates strength, clarity, and precision. The diamond does not beg for attention. It commands respect quietly. If this key pulled you in, your subconscious is revealing something rare about you. Choosing the diamond emblem key suggests inner authority. You are someone who values truth over comfort and depth over popularity. Your mind is sharp, and your intuition is strong. You don't accept things easily just because others do. You question, you analyze, and you search for meaning beneath the surface. Carl Jung would associate this choice with the self-archetype, the balanced center of the psyche where ego and unconscious meet. People drawn to this key often carry a strong sense of personal integrity. You know who you are, even if others don't. You are not easily influenced, and you do not bend your values for approval. This can sometimes make you feel isolated. You may have felt misunderstood, or even labeled as too intense or too serious. But the truth is, your subconscious refuses shallow connections. You crave authenticity. The diamond also symbolizes pressure. Diamonds are formed under extreme conditions, and so are you. Your strength was forged through challenges that forced you to grow quickly. You may have faced situations where you had to become emotionally independent early in life. This made you powerful, but it also made you guarded. You don't open up easily, not because you lack emotion, but because you value it deeply. Here is the shadow this key reveals. You may struggle with control, because you trust yourself more than others. You sometimes carry everything alone. You might resist vulnerability, seeing it as a weakness, but your subconscious is sending a message. True strength is not just self-reliance, it is also knowing when to let others in. Now, take a breath and look at the fourth and final key. This last key is modern, sleek and minimal. Its design is clean, futuristic and efficient. There are no ornaments, no rust, no excessive detail, just purpose. If this key felt right to you, your subconscious is revealing your relationship with change, freedom, and the future. Choosing the modern key suggests adaptability. You are forward-thinking and mentally flexible. You do not cling to the past, and you are not obsessed with appearances. You care about function, progress, and evolution. You are the kind of person who can reinvent themselves when life demands it. Jung would see this as a strong connection to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. You are comfortable with uncertainty, while others fear change. You see it as an opportunity. You may be drawn to new ideas, technology, or unconventional paths. You don't follow traditions blindly. You choose what aligns with your inner logic. This makes you innovative, but it can also make you restless. You may struggle to stay in one place, one role, or one identity for too long. The hidden challenge of this key is emotional detachment. Sometimes, in your desire to move forward, you may disconnect from deeper feelings. You may avoid emotional depth by staying busy, rational, or constantly evolving. Your subconscious is reminding you that progress without emotional grounding can feel empty. Now that you've seen all four keys, Carl Jung would ask you to step back and look at the bigger picture. The true power of this test is not just which key you chose, but why that key spoke to you at this exact moment in your life. Symbols appear when the psyche is ready to understand them. Your choice is a mirror, not a verdict. The old rusty key represents memory, depth, and emotional endurance. The golden ornamented key represents ambition, recognition, and the outer self you present to the world. The diamond emblem key represents inner authority, truth, and psychological strength. And the modern key represents evolution, freedom, and the courage to move forward. None of these keys are better than the others. Each one opens a different door within the subconscious. If you were drawn strongly to one key, it suggests that this aspect of your personality is currently dominant. But here is the deeper Jungian insight. The parts you didn't choose are not absent. They are simply less conscious. Jung believed that growth happens when we integrate all sides of ourselves, not when we identify with only one. If you chose the rusty key, perhaps it's time to respect your past but not let it define your future. If you chose the golden key, perhaps it's time to enjoy success without letting it measure your worth. If you choose the diamond key, perhaps it's time to balance strength with softness. And if you choose the modern key, perhaps it's time to slow down and reconnect emotionally, not just intellectually. Now here is the most important part of this test, the part Carl Jung believed most people avoid their entire lives. Because choosing a door is not about prediction, it is about recognition. And recognition is uncomfortable because it forces you to see patterns you can no longer unsee. And Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. And your door choice has already revealed the strategy your mind uses to protect you from pain, rejection, loss, or chaos. But protection can quietly turn into a prison. And the goal of psychological growth is not to destroy these strategies, but to integrate them. Because every shadow trait exists for a reason. And if you chose the heavy protective door, growth begins when you allow safe vulnerability. Not with everyone, but with one trusted person. Because strength that never bends eventually breaks. And when you stop equating control with safety, you allow intimacy without fear of losing yourself. And if you chose the bright expressive door, your integration begins when you sit with silence without reaching for validation. When you learn that your worth does not fluctuate with attention, because the shadow of people-pleasing dissolves the moment you realize love is not earned through performance. And if you chose the mysterious half-open door, your work is not more exploration, it is commitment. choosing one path fully and tolerating the discomfort of limitation, because depth without direction becomes escape. And Jung believed individuation requires decision, not endless reflection. And if you chose the broken or damaged door, healing begins when you allow yourself to want more, not by denying your past, but by refusing to let pain be the only familiar language you speak to yourself, because hope feels dangerous only when disappointment has been repeated. And finally, if you chose the locked door, integration begins when you gently question what you are protecting and whether it still needs protection, because emotional locks installed in childhood are rarely updated in adulthood, and what once saved you may now be restricting you. And the reason this test feels accurate is not because it is magical, but because symbols bypass defense mechanisms. They slip past logic and speak directly to emotional memory. And this is why Jung valued dreams, myths, and imagery over rational explanation, because the psyche understands pictures before it understands words. And as you reflect on your door choice, remember this self-awareness is not about labeling yourself. It is about giving yourself options. Because once you see the door you habitually choose, you realize there are others you've been ignoring. And psychological freedom is not about forcing change, it is about allowing choice. And if this test resonated with you, it means some part of your unconscious is ready for dialogue, not judgment. And the moment you listen instead of suppress, the shadow softens, integrates, and becomes a source of strength rather than sabotage. And Jung believed that wholeness is not perfection, it is the acceptance of contradictions within yourself. So as you move forward, ask yourself this simple question whenever you feel stuck or afraid: am I choosing this door out of habit or out of awareness? Because that single pause can change the entire direction of your life.